Hi there, and thank you for clicking on my video. This is going to be the second video in the Baby Tenno series, if you will, on modding. I'm just going to show some examples of particularly basic builds that you can work for or work toward, where they provide a very solid overall balance where there's nothing particularly bad about them, there's nothing particularly good about them, but it's something to work toward. Um, I've changed frame for former reasons so I can fit all the mods that are upgraded. So for your first warframe build, say if you're using Excal or Volt, and to some extent even Mag, this build would not be horrible. It would not be the worst. It wouldn't be the best, and it would have trouble doing like higher level content, but there wouldn't be anything inherently wrong with this build. So start with, if you remember the last video, we've just expanded on that thought, but this time this is more for you've been working on completing the star chart. Say you're 70% of the way through, you've been hacking and slashing and killing bosses and all of that. And you've been making good progress, but you're not to the second star chart yet or beyond. So you haven't completed the first star chart yet. So this would be the build for you. So we've expanded on what we originally had, where it was just trying to survive. Because obviously, if you're trying to complete missions, if you're dead, you can't complete the mission. Again, with the auras, whatever the best aura is, I'm assuming by this point you've done some Nightwave. If you still haven't done Nightwave, you probably have Physique. If you've done some Nightwave missions, make sure to pick up the Corrosive Projection aura if you haven't already. It's a very, very strong, easily accessible aura. I think you can get it for like 20 Nightwave credits from Nightwave. It's on a rotation though, but just make sure to check it out. So, okay, let's go over the basic build. Redirection, we've continued to upgrade it. This one is maxed. Steel, Fiber, and Health, same thing, just boosting our health and health shields as much as possible, making as much of a rock as possible, with the most survivability. We've added some new mods, and I'm assuming since you've been doing the star chart that you've collected some of these. Continuity, flow, intensity, or continuity, stretch, and intensity. Since we're starting to boost stats, again, none of this is min-max, none of this is purpose-built, this is the most generic. Run through the star chart, blasting stuff in the face build, where nothing really needs to be specialized. So, continuity, intensity, and range. Obviously, I'm assuming by now, you're maybe MR6, MR7, MR8. You started building a frame. You maybe started building, you've obviously started building some weapons. But you've been getting most of your XP or your MR from like completing nodes, doing weapons, and maybe you haven't really focused too much on doing frames. So you might still be running with your original frame, or maybe you've started farming up primes. A lot of times by MR5, MR6, MR7, somebody's built their first prime frame. So this is more or less for you guys. So just continuing with the theory, or the goal of being the best rock we possibly can be. Redirection, fiber, vitality, our triple stack of effective health. We've now added 3 mods that help our abilities out. And we have now added flow, which increases our max energy, because as you get slowly further into the star chart, you're going to be using your abilities more and more. And we've kept equilibrium. So this is a solid example of a completely general use build. If you don't have some of these, swap it out for fast deflection. Like say you don't have continuity yet, or say you don't have intensity. Just swap it out for fast deflection and you're good to go. So this is nothing inherently wrong with it, nothing inherently great with it. These are your options. I'm assuming you have stretch by now. I'm assuming you have flow. Continuity, you should probably have that. But I think intensity or intensify drops more regularly. So these mods, I'm expecting you to have most of them, if not all of them. But by the end of the star chart, you should have most of these, if not all of these, if you've been burning through star chart planets. This is going to help in all missions. And again, just a general all-around build. Doesn't do anything particularly well, isn't really bad at anything particularly. So it's just your general pick it up and run with it build. Something to work forward. Alright. The granddaddy of all star chart weapons. The Ignis Wraith. This build also works on the Ignis. The build, we've now added different elements, where before I was saying just go corrosive. We are now modding for effects. Base damage again. Crit chance again. Now I'm assuming you have crit damage, so we've added that as well. And now if you notice, we have another multiplier that will become part of your permanent set. With very few exceptions, will you not put multi-shot on a primary, but this is not one of them. And fire rate. So you see we still have our core mods, but now we've added multi-shot. But in this instance, because we have a heat-based weapon, we're going to mod for viral. So we have cold here, toxin here. You should have toxin mods out the ass. But maybe you don't have a cold 60/60. If you don't, you could do something like this. To get your viral, you should probably have your 90, your element mods, cold, heat, electricity, and toxin maxed out by now. There are only 5 ranks. And you should have a ton of these, because you basically have a chance every time you go into the void to get one of these. And we are adding a new thing where it is a status applicator. So instead of relying on raw base damage from corrosive, we are now modding for effects. So damage, multi-shot, crit chance, crit damage, fire rate, viral. And now we are modding for slash, which will take us way through the star chart, and especially dealing with like something like a Grineer or whatnot. This is going to help shred them down. This is very effective. And this mod for this mod setup, we are now incorporating an Exilis mod. And if you've done bounties on Cetus, check out getting these. The hunter set and the vigilante set come from Cetus. So pick them up when you can. If they're on rotation, you obviously don't have to do vigilante supplies. You could do this. And I would recommend farming up an Exilis mod for this. It's definitely worth it. But say if you don't have it, mod like this and just eat the fire rate. So this would be something to work toward. Eventually something like this. And then you could maybe work toward like a vigilante set stack. Like if you have like this would be fine also. But this would be like Baby Tenno's star chart clearing primary. So ways to save some forma. Um, Serration to say rank 9, rank 8 would be fine. Multi-shot maxed, Vital Sense maxed, Point Strike maxed. Cryo rounds should be maxed. Toxin mod 60/60. If you don't have it, mod for the regular corrosive. This is definitely a weapon that is worth an Orokin catalyst. So don't be afraid of putting a catalyst in this. It's definitely worth it. Fire rate, again, whichever one you have, is A-okay. And Hunter Munitions. Make sure to farm this up from Cetus. Alright, melees. Little bit more advanced, but just continuing on what we did. I'm assuming now you have some stance mods for weapons, and you're using a weapon that you do have a stance mod for. There's really no reason not to. So base damage, crit chance, crit damage, reach, same as before. Attack speed, same as before. But we've now modded for corrosive again. This is going to help a lot against the Corpus, or against the Grineer. If you are going against the Corpus, mod for magnetic and toxin for now. We're not really relying on applying status effects too much with this. But this would be an example of like a build to work toward. If you've been doing nightmares, something like this is definitely helpful. Drifting Contact, get more combo duration. For heavy attacks, also gives you a nice little status boost. But a build like this will take you pretty much entirely through the star chart. Allow you to complete all the nodes. So, something to work toward. This isn't horribly expensive because of the max ranks of the mods. But this is something to work toward. Let's talk about pets. By the time you clear the star chart, you should have something called a Smita kavat. And you should have most of these mods. Ironically, the ones that you're most likely not to have, due to drop rates, are going to be the link set mods. Charm, you get with the animal. Pack Leader is a common. Fetch is a pretty common drop. You should have one by now. Animal Instinct is a nightmare mod. So what are the other ones? The tech mod and the synth mods. By now, you should have gotten through Fortuna, and you should be doing decently well with standings. And these mods drop from Fortuna. If you're making a little bit of plat, I wouldn't say the synth set is worth paying out for. And if you don't, it's okay for now to take them off. But the big mod you do need is synth fiber. It's more important than synth construct on Smitas. So if you don't have synth deconstruct, it's not the end of the world. But synth fiber is the big one. Make sure to go farm this up when you get the chance with your standings in Fortuna. And then you just have a flex slot. And this isn't a horribly expensive build. Don't mind the forma. Because I'm not expecting the link mods to all be upgraded. That's a lot of endo. Leave them at rank 8 or rank 9 if you're trying to save endo. It's not that big of a deal. So, we've swapped off of Sentinels. We're now using pets. For that last slot, you would do like a Medi pet kit if you have one of these. I think this is an index mod, but Loyal Companion, you should have one of these also. Gives you a bleed out timer increase, which when your pet goes down, um, allows you more time to revive them. So food for thought. But if you have Medi Pet Kit, actually, let me just double check on that. Yeah, it's an index mod. So as you're farming up your credits on those devil credit weekends, when you see one of these, make sure to grab it and swap it out for Loyal Companion. This is 100% a star chart worthy build, if not more. And maybe you've got some like Barrow items. Prime Pack Leader isn't as big of a deal as Primed Animal Instinct is. I'm just gonna say it. It's not as big of a deal as Primed Animal Instinct. So this is more important than Primed Pack Leader. So this would be an example of a build that would be appropriate for completing the star chart. The Smida is 100% worth the Forma. Just save capacity on lower ranked link mods like Link Armor, Link Shields, Link Health. Save your Forma there by running them lower. So this will be an example of a star chart appropriate pet. This pet is going to give you all of the resources you're ever going to need. Any farm team that's doing like a resource farm essentially has 4 of these. So there you go. Couple of examples of decent ones. Did I do the pistol? I'll do that again real quick. Base damage, multi-shot, lethal torrents from Nightmare, more fire rate, more multi-shot, crit chance, crit damage. Same as before. You should have these by now. And we're modding for corrosive still. Just due to the fact that we don't necessarily have an Exilus mod on a weapon. So by now you should have pistol ammo mutation. And this would be a good 8th slot, a good generic star chart clearing build. By now you should have 8, if not 9, Hornet Strike ranks. Multi-shot should be maxed. Lethal Torrent, if you have it, should be maxed. Crit chance, crit damage should be maxed. You should have a ton of these 60/60 mods. And if you don't have Jolt, just run a 90 mod for electricity. Because Jolt is a Barrow item. And if you don't know what that is, you'll know pretty soon. He brings primed mods and looks cool stuff. But this would be a star chart clearing build for any pistol. So there you go. This would be a generic build that I would expect that like somebody in my clan, by the time they finish the star chart, would be well on their way to completing, if not completed already. So there you go. Still modding for corrosive. We're starting to add new elements, viral, and just to be clear, verse corpus, magnetic and toxin, verse Grenier, corrosive heat, verse infested. Gas electricity is a good option, and even if you just went viral against infested, you would do pretty good damage also, especially if it's on like a primary. Viral on a primary or secondary. On a melee, maybe you could go like gas electric or just pure gas would do pretty good against the infested. But all right, thank you. I think that's enough. Have a blessed day.